Alrighty, so this is Chapter 4, Section 3, Congruent Triangles. Now, even though the name's Congruent Triangles, what we are going to go over applies to geometric figures, so congruent polygons as well, but as you can tell by the title, we're going to concentrate on triangles. So, first of all, geometric figures, not just triangles, are congruent, and that is a congruency symbol. It looks like an equal sign with a tilde on top. They're congruent if they are the same shape and the same size. Has to be both. If you have the same shape but they're different sizes, they're not congruent. Has to be same shape and same size. Corresponding parts, that refers to parts that match up, and congruency statements must have the corresponding parts in the same order. The easiest way for me to explain that to you is to show you with an example. So let's take a look. Okay, so here you can see we have two triangles. Triangle ABC and triangle HJK. Now, for these triangles, you can see that we have some parts that are corresponding. So look at angle A. See how angle A has two arcs and angle angle H has two arcs? That means these angles are congruent. These are corresponding parts. Angle J corresponds with angle B, and angle K corresponds with angle C. We also have corresponding sides. AB corresponds with HJ. Notice the order I said those in. AB, two arcs to one arc. HJ, two arcs to one arc. I'm saying them in the same order that they go, or that they correspond with. BC corresponds to JK, and AC corresponds to HK. So definitely make sure that you pay attention to the marks. They'll let you know what corresponds. Now when we write this congruency statement, we have a triangle here, and let's say we started out with letter A. You could start with any letter you wanted to, but let's choose A. So triangle A, I know this is going to correspond with, and on this triangle, A corresponds with H. Next, if the next letter I choose is B here, going around clockwise order, if I started here with H, the next one I have to choose is J because that corresponds with B. And then for the last letter, C, which corresponds with K. Now, the thing is if you did not have these pictures here and all you had was this statement, you would know that this angle and this angle corresponds. Likewise, B and J and C and K. Also, you would know that segment AB corresponds with segment HJ, and so forth. So that's why these need to be in order in case you don't have a picture. Also, if the figures that you're writing a congruency statement for, if they are not a triangle, you can simply label it polygon and then whatever letters you have. Congruent to polygon, whatever. Alrighty? So let's take a look at an example that would use this information. Here we have two triangles that are kind of back-to-back you can think of. And I'm telling you that RSV is congruent to triangle TVS. Well, this tells us a bunch of things. It tells us that R corresponds with T. And it would have helped if I drew the letter there. Sorry about that. It also tells us S corresponds with V, and it also tells us that V corresponds with S. Now, if you're confused on why I have these letters here doubled, the reason why is because they share a side. So basically this is telling you that this triangle that goes RSV in that order, R to S, S to V, corresponds with this one that goes from T to V, V to S. So basically they're kind of like mirror images butted up against each other. So we know that RS and TV are going to have the same measure. So I can put a line there and a line there. We also know that SV on the first triangle is going to correspond with VS on the second triangle. So basically this side is this side. So now let's solve for X and Y. So first of all, I know this equals that. But I don't have a measurement here. That's okay. Think about what we learned in the last section. We know that all triangles, when we look at the interior angles, the sum of their interior angles has to equal 180. Well, this is 78, this is 90. I'm only missing one angle. So 180 degrees equals 78 degrees plus 90 degrees. That box means right angle, 90 degrees, plus, let's give it a variable, let's call this h. 78 plus 90, that's going to be 168. And I'm going to take away 168 from both sides. When I do that, I find out that that missing angle is equal to 12 degrees. And if this is 12 degrees, and these two are congruent, corresponding parts, that means x is 12 degrees. Now I'm halfway there. Let's look for y. Well, remember, RS corresponded to TV. That means that the 2y minus 1 from here is equal to the 24 here. So 2y minus 1 equals 24. Add 1 to both sides. I get 2y equals 25. Divide both sides by the coefficient of y, which is 2. I end up with y equals 12.5. So there we have it. And that is using congruency statements and corresponding parts to solve for variables. Now, the last thing we have to go over is what's called the third angle theorem. And basically it says if you have two triangles and two of the angles on one triangle are congruent to two angles on a second triangle, just like here, 90 and 50, 90 and 50. So two angles on one triangle are congruent to two angles on the other triangle, then the third angle on both triangles, the third angle has to be congruent. So think about it. When you have a triangle, you know all the interior angles have to add up to 180. So if on this triangle I have 50 and 90, 50 and 90 is 140, that means this has to be 40 degrees. Likewise, on this triangle, 90 and 50 is 140, that means this one has to be 40 degrees. So on both of these triangles, the third angle has to be the same, and that'll always be true. And if you understand that, that's everything for the lesson. You should be pretty set. I will see you in class.